here we are. Good morning, everyone. My name is Andres Del Fierro, McAllen Boys and Girls Club, along with Jordan Diaz.
Hey, everybody. Jordan Diaz.
And our guest today, James Enriquez. Hello,
Hey,
James.
everyone.
There you go. And our team in studio, Karina.
Hello.
There we
Hi,
go.
guys.
There we go. Saying hi. Good. We're going to start today by bringing in people that used to be, or alumni that have come to the club, and now are now in the community doing good things. Hopefully, James is doing a lot of good things in the community. But we'll start off first by what did you? I mean, did you come to the club? Did you come to this club? When did you start? Start us off with a little bit about you and how that goes.
Yeah. Thanks for dating me already. Yes, this was the original club that I would come to.
There you go.
Thanks for throwing that out there. In fact, we used to play baseball at those on those
that's
fields.
right in the back there. Yeah, there you go.
That long ago.
That's right. so within the last 10 years, good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the last time they had some games back there. No, good. What did you first play back at? Like, was it just baseball or t-ball?
Got started with baseball.
Okay.
I did 1 year of tackle football.
Okay, yeah, when we had tackle football back in this like mid 90s, late 90s. No, it's okay.
Nobody needs to know that.
Okay, I think we started off with saying this is the alumni, right? This is the alumni one, right? So I'll say that I played here back in the mid 90s. Okay?
Well, that's not true. I think I saw James playing in our 14U baseball.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we won't go there.
I'm checking dates. So you played baseball here, and do you remember what team you were on?
No.
Because back then they were like sponsored by companies and stuff, so it wasn't like the Raptors versus the Warriors. It was usually like, Shell gas station
right.
versus Paint Auto Group or something.
Right.
So you don't remember the team you were on then?
Of course. I was my dad was a coach. Coach/sponsor.
Here we go. So daddy ball in effect. All right. Here we go. So you started, played every game, and pretty much no one else played till you got upset then.
Well, yes, but we'll let the end results speak for themselves. How about that?
There you go. So tackle football. What team were you on then? Do you remember that team? Same thing?
Yeah, Cougars.
Cougars. There you go. Were y'all any good?
I don't remember.
No. Okay. Well, how about this? Did you play the division you played in high school, going into junior high school, or you are all over the place, just playing different things?
Yeah, so I think that's interesting in the fact that I only played 1 year of tackle football.
Oh wow, okay, 1 year, and then
and I didn't. Quite honestly, I was scared to hit.
Really?
Like, seriously.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was probably third or fourth grade.
Wow. Okay. And after that, you didn't play again until junior high?
Until seventh grade. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So it took that long before you wanted to play again. In being here though, were some of those kids that were on teams still friends to this day, or just were they ran like? Because back then when I came over here, they're mostly McAllen kids. I'm from Mission, so we were on a team with a bunch of McAllen kids, sometimes FAR kids. Were you predominantly with the kids that you grew up with, and then going to junior highs and high school, or just?
I don't really remember about football because there's only one season.
Okay.
But baseball, yes, I still have.
Childhood friends.
Yeah, still lifelong friends.
Right.
Like
That-
our kids get together today.
Wow,
that we
yeah.
remember each other since we were 5 years old.
Oh, there you go. Okay. And then that turned into what junior high did you go to?
Morris.
Morris. Okay, so then pretty much y'all won all your games over there. Was it like that back then? Were they still very dominant as they are, today?
So my 7th grade year was the first year that it was just McAllen schools.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's okay. So y'all played just the De Leons, the Brown, the Travis. So, oh wow. Okay, so that's interesting.
Because it's not like that anymore, right?
Right. No. You play other cities and stuff. So I didn't know that. That's the only thing y'all did then. Because back in Mission, we had to play all the La Joyas and Sherrys. And you know what? Hardly any McAllen in the years I played, at least. So you just played the McAllen schools. Yeah.
My 7th grade year was the first year they did that. So in other words, before then,
Yeah.
they were, it was like it is now.
Yeah. Because they get to play other junior highs in other cities now. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So 7th, 8th grade, played football, only football or other sports?
No, 7th, 8th grade, I did everything.
Okay.
For the junior high at Morris, I did. There was no baseball at that point.
Right.
So I did basketball, football, cross country, track. Did soccer for the school.
And the coaches had you like transition each one instead of you deciding, hey, you know what, James, you're gonna do football, and that's it. Or then you're like, no, James, you're gonna do football. Then when this is done, you're going to basketball. Then that's done, you're gonna do this, and that.
Actually, that's a great point. I hadn't thought about some of this stuff in a really long time.
Right.
So
it's good.
My 7th grade year in football, I was actually on the B team.
Oh, interesting.
And I think that was the first year they were doing A and B.
Right.
So I was on the B team. I didn't play basketball until 8th grade. And as I said before, I didn't even play basketball here at the Boys and Girls Club. So I basically had no experience with basketball whatsoever.
Wow. Okay.
Started my 8th grade year. Started playing basketball my 8th grade year.
And how were y'all there? Like, pretty okay?
Yeah. Basketball, we were pretty good. I think we went undefeated.
So you do remember that?
Yeah.
Y'all didn't lose any games. So y'all, I mean, the band's probably still there at Morris, I'd imagine.
It better be. If not, where can we make a donation?
Right. Well, that's because only 10 years ago, so it should be there.
That's right. Yeah.
No, that's good. So basketball, then you probably went to, well, if not soccer, then track. I'd assume afterwards, right? In the junior high?
Yeah, I think soccer and cross country were at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so, okay. And I'm only asking because, nowadays, I'm probably getting to a little bit right now, most kids just specify in just one region, whereas, in my opinion, and Jordan can probably test this also, as director of, I've seen over the years, that it's better, people ask me, like, what should we do? I'm like, well, put your kid in everything. That way your kid learns how to adjust their body to different things, you know what I mean? Just playing football the whole time, then, and only defense, or you're only a quarterback, you're only this, you only specify to one thing. But if you do baseball, you do basketball, soccer, then maybe you can be able to do, different things. Am I right or wrong in that?
Yeah, I mean, and also just to clarify, I think what Andy means is to take each season and do a different sport, not 6 seasons, not 6 sports in one season, right? We got our multi-athletes doing baseball, basketball, flag football, volleyball sometimes on the off season there. But yeah, no, I would say the more that I've been in this position, longer that I've been in this position, I've seen what Andy means about, the athletes getting a different type of muscle memory with each sport that comes along with it. And some of them just find joy in a new sport that they're trying out for that first season too.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, definitely. So okay, junior high is done right there. So then you go in high school. You're at Mac High now, right?
Yeah.
And football?
Yeah.
I assume so. When you ended 9th grade football, I think back then it was Coach Harris?
He wasn't the 9th grade coach, but yes.
Okay, so the eventually varsity coach you have there.
Yeah.
Freshman year, what was that like, going to be like freshman to going to varsity? Because we're going to get into that a little bit. Because I will say that when I was younger, going to some games and watching James, you would hear James Enriquez, talk right here. James Enriquez is this. James Enriquez over here again. Like, is James really, really good, or is the team like really, really bad? Like, no, one of the two. Of course, just joking, but.
No, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how safe of a space this is. If I
No,
can tell a funny story.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
So-
we're here about stories.
So, okay, so to that point, if we're really good or not,
Yeah. We beat things out.
this is what makes you feel really old. So, was it in the last year or two, Mac High football made it really far? I think. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it was last year.
And in the newspaper, when leading up to that playoff game, it read something like, Mac High hasn't been here this far in the playoffs. I go on to read the article, and I'm like, oh, interesting article. 20 years, 2001. Wait a minute. That was my junior year. Oh, my goodness. Has it been that long?
So then you knew right away that it was you guys. So your sophomore, junior year, y'all pretty good those years?
So my sophomore, junior year, we made playoffs.
Oh, good.
My junior year, we went 3 rounds deep.
Oh, nice.
Senior year, we didn't do too well.
Right.
But yeah. So.
But and in playing football and doing those things, how do you think that's helped you now? As I might say, 20 years later, become what you've done now. Because now if I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, you do marathons now, or is it Ironman, or it's something along that nature, right? But did those sports help you get into those things now, like the training part of it, the mental part of it? Like, how did that help you now?
Yeah.
Do what you do.
Not nitpicking, not
No,
that it
no,
matters,
no.
but just so
Yeah,
people
right,
understand.
right.
It's ultra marathons. So
I didn't know it was ultra.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So my furthest distance was last year. I completed 100K, 62 miles.
Jeez.
How does Yes, it all helps.
Okay, let me. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, so how did you become a super athlete from when we were?
I wasn't saying it for that reason.
From average athlete to super. No. That's pretty impressive to be doing that. So did any of that stuff help you? Like, I mean, as an adult now, because you in dog days of football, you're tired. You don't want to do anything. You know, the whole process, 2 days and stuff. Did that help you? I mean, for this any way? Anything?
Absolutely. I mean, we always talk about, in football, in any sport really, but mainly football.
Yeah.
So let me back up a little bit. So in high school, I lettered in football, basketball, baseball, and track.
Sure.
So they're all a little bit different.
Right.
But I found the message with football was mainly around mental toughness.
Right.
And that's kind of what you need to run for, 14 to 17 hours.
Yes.
There's a lot of ups and downs. So,
Right.
yeah.
Where'd you run this? Or what?
Comfort, Texas.
Oh, geez. So
Yeah.
out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. The hill country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of ups and downs and
Literally and
ups and downs.
physically and emotionally.
Jeez. Oh my. So, are there any songs that you play along the way, like to get you motivated to like keep? End the run. I don't even know, begin the run.
Okay.
Rocky IV comes to mind.
I would call this mental toughness.
Okay.
Other people might call it sociopath.
Okay. Right.
I had no headphones.
Oh,
So, yeah.
just nature.
Nature. Okay.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
the second
Grounding.
half. Sure. The second half, I had a pacer.
Okay.
So he kept me company. But the first half, I was without headphones.
Right. Man, and I don't know anything about this sport at all whatsoever. Then is there a period where you change shoes? Maybe change. I don't know. Because it goes so long. How do you? At the point you stop, there's no stopping points, or how does that work?
Yeah. So yes, you should take an extra pair of clothes.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I only changed my shirt once.
Okay.
I changed my socks.
Okay.
That's about
in,
it.
in between. So there is a point where you can stop and take a small break and then, or do change or whatever to do and stuff.
So everyone's different.
Okay.
Some people are there to get the best time ever, so
Right.
as few stops as possible. I was just there to finish it.
Right.
It was my 40th birthday to
Oh,
myself.
man, okay.
My whole family was with me. So there was about 4 hours of that 17 hours where I was just sitting, just spending time with them.
Right.
I wanted to put on a brave face for them to
Right.
realize I'm okay. I had a burger. I ate 2 burgers during the
Right.
race. That was the. I don't
Wow.
think I've ever eaten like that during a race.
Right.
So
Okay. Well, that's pretty impressive. So how many hours did you finish it in?
17.
It was 17 hours?
Yeah.
And what's the average that most these athletes do out there?
I mean, that's not a very good time.
No, okay. No,
I wish. If
I'd be happy just finishing it.
Well, and I was
Yeah.
right, but it would have been nice to have finished in 12 hours. But,
Right.
but,
Wow, 12 hours.
Yeah.
What time did y'all start at?
I don't remember at this point. It was probably like 7 in the morning.
Okay.
It was anywhere from 6 to 8.
And you have 24 hours to finish, or is it a time frame?
Yes.
Okay.
There was a cutoff. You had 24 hours. So if you measure it against that, then 17 is not bad. I had plenty of time to spare.
Right.
But yeah.
No, it's very, very impressive. Do you plan on doing any more of?
That's it. I'm done.
And
What's funny about it is I would love to. I just don't want to put all the effort to get my body prepared to do that.
Right. And
Not that I don't want to.
What was the training process like for that?
I mean, it was 5 runs a week. 5 runs a week. On Sundays, my longest run would be 5 hours. So, you're completing a marathon by yourself. No fanfare. No.
Right.
You got no aid
All mental.
stations.
Yeah, it's all
so
mental
you got to
stuff.
provide your own water, your own sustenance.
yeah, no, definitely. Okay. Weird transition. How did that get you into finance? and stuff on there.
Yeah, you know what's funny? All right, so the whole
Yeah.
how it all works together is
Yeah.
I had a realization after completing it. I was like, I just did that for 17 hours straight.
Right.
So sitting in front of my computer in my office for 8 hours in the AC, I can do that.
Right. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Of course.
Just buckle down, focus, get the
Right.
job done.
Right.
Attack it the same way you would with
Right.
an ultra marathon.
There you go. So, I'll backtrack a little bit. So after high school, you go to college, and you knew then already you wanted to go into finance, or was that something you eventually stumbled upon, or how'd that work out?
I did what any good millennial would do. I Googled best companies to work for. I'm not kidding. I wish I was alive.
And I need to understand, this is when Google came out, okay?
Oh yeah, I was cutting edge.
Google just come out for us, so we're learning how to use this stuff.
I was an early adopter.
There you go. So, and finance popped up, and that said, you know what, I'm gonna go in.
No, even worse. Just 100 top companies. And I had an internship, and the first company I was with in finance shared a lot of the same characteristics as the company I had an internship with.
Okay.
So I applied, and
there you go.
Yeah. In fact, one of the things I told them was like, hey, I know nothing about finance. They're like, no, we'll train you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
You'll be okay. Yeah. You'll be all right. So after that, what was your first job then that you had?
Financial advisor. I've been a financial advisor for 15 years.
Okay. That's what it was right away. Okay. And then from then.
Well, no. So after college, I had a local restaurant, local franchise. Did that for a couple of years.
Okay.
And that's when I started Googling best companies to work for. And that's when I stumbled upon finance.
Oh, and you know you're in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
Here in McAllen?
Yeah.
Oh, what restaurant was it?
It was, at the time, we owned the Hungry Howie's franchise at the time.
Oh, okay. There you go. Oh, the pizza for pizza.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. And a lot of pizzas then at the time.
Yeah.
To be sold. And you got to learn how to make it, the process of it, the whole business side of it and stuff.
Right.
So okay, and then from that, let's go into finance and teach you how to use their own money, and then invest in different things. There you go.
Yeah.
And so, and what do you have now? What's your business called?
Well, I'm a financial advisor.
Oh, my part. No.
Well, now I'm the managing partner of.
Right.
I'm one of the managing partners of our practice.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's called
Strategic Insights Financial Planning Group.
There you go. Okay. And it's you and Alexis Yadiel and somebody else, another person, right?
Yeah.
Or that do the.
Well, we're a team of 8. Or
Oh,
9.
it's more. I thought only you 3.
No, there's 8 or 9 of us.
There you go.
4 licensed financial advisors. We're working on getting another one licensed.
Right.
So.
And for some people that don't know what that is, could you explain a little bit what that entails?
Yeah. In a nutshell, we help people reach their financial goals through investing their money.
Finance, you help people with their money and whatnot. And so, okay. And then also on the side, you've helped coach here before, and it to come kind of full circle, right, with your own kids. You coach basketball here with us, and
how have you seen it grow since? I mean, you
there you
play
go.
baseball here in the backfield. I think we don't even have dirt there, right? It's
No,
just all
no.
grass. How have
Yeah.
you seen it go from that to now the 9-11 fields that we have on average per season? I mean, you're pretty current or active in our baseball season, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. You are now. Yeah. So that's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, it's changed so much. There's been so much progress. Just from facilities to number of seasons to number of kids.
Right.
I mean, it's incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
And your kids love coming to the games and being part of the Boys and Girls Club and the whole.
Yeah. So we're taping this shortly after Father's Day,
Okay.
and for Father's Day, my kids got me this book, 100 Things I Love About Dad. And one of the things my daughter wrote was, "You taught me how to play t-ball."
There you go.
I had already forgotten about that. No, because in the scheme of things, I love what y'all do here. I've seen some signs that nobody's handing out scholarships today, right? So it kind of puts things in perspective, right?
Right.
I don't remember being an alum. I don't remember that t-ball game, that one t-ball game when I was 5 years old.
Right.
I remember my entire experience, and it shaped a lot of who I am.
Right.
But I don't remember that one specific game.
There you go. There you go.
So with that in mind, I even present day, I don't remember one specific, because we're going to forget about it, right?
Right.
But to her, to see that about learning about
really hits you.
I was like, oh my goodness, that stuck with her.
Yeah.
And shameless plug, we won the championship that
There you go. Maybe on that hit that she had.
Well, I wish I could say yes. But that's something that she's just going to remember. She's not going to remember specific games. She's not going to remember the swing path or, she's not going to remember any of that. She's just going to remember that I taught her that. She had a great experience. and that she has a medal now.
They get the medals. There you go. Yeah. Everyone's got to get the medals. That's good. And the good point that Jordan brought up there about it growing. We have grown, in the 10, 20 plus years that we've had this. But people don't realize sports has been part of this club since the 60s. And so for it to go to, generation, decade by decade and stuff. So to have people like you come back and see how it was, because we did have baseball fields back here at Suarez Park. I believe they were, it was my first year working. We had 4 fields back there. And those 4 fields didn't turn into football fields, and those football fields turned into at one point soccer. So that field's been through, and right now it has rugby on it. So it does, they do a lot of things on there. So for you to come back and see that, because I think even then, you played the field at Muni Park that are still there now, but that was a 4-plex then. Now it's a 6-plex. And then you coach your kids at a new complex, which has 12 parks in it. So you've seen this thing go from literally 4 parks to the 12 now you see, 18 with including the softball. And now we have the 4 gyms that we run. So it's all over McAllen.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me that I was around when Municipal Bicentennial Field was like brand new.
Right, that's right.
Whoa.
That's right. We're going to the field across from Mackay Stadium.
Yeah.
I remember being a kid going like, we're going to the stadium, right? Because I'm in Mission. You're coming over here to McAllen. You're like, okay, we're going to the stadium, the big one. And my whole life thinking like, that is the stadium you want to play in one day and be there. And now that Jordan and I are doing this thing, we usually have meetings up there in that area to see the sky view from that point of view is pretty amazing. So, that's really good. So, going back, you were saying you had a quick little story to give us about a friend of yours that played here, coached here, or how is?
Yes to all the above.
Yes. Work with colleague.
I wasn't going to mention names,
There
but
you go.
we had a. You were talking about multi-sports earlier.
Right.
So it was funny because we were recently having a fun little debate,
Sure.
25 years later,
Right.
after we graduated. and I'm fortunate enough to where my parents made a scrapbook of old newspaper clippings. And I thought I recalled my batting average in high school was a little bit higher than said person.
Right.
And said person was,
Pretty adamant that it wasn't.
well, he didn't do as many sports.
Right.
Right.
So
Turns out my batting average was 7 percentage points lower, and this was my junior year. Okay. My junior year, we were in the Corpus Christi district for baseball.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some pretty good competition.
Yeah, some pretty good teams. Yes.
And our other friend decided to point out that I had much fewer at bats. So that's when I said, "Well, that's what happens when you're a multi-sport athlete. And, like you're in basketball,
Right.
and then it runs into baseball, and
Right,
so
right.
it's a quick transition.
Right.
You don't get time in the cages. You don't get preseason games.
Right.
You don't get any of
You
that.
don't get the winter league. You don't get all that stuff right there.
Yeah, right.
So the whole thing was only 7%, 10 points down from a kid that does it year round, pretty much, right? What you're saying?
Yeah.
And you know what goes to it? Like they made it. And I'll tell you this right now. There's a good study that most of the quarterbacks in the NFL right now and most top athletes are multi-sport athletes. There's never been I can only name one guy, Bryce Harper, that started when he was 10. And then in 15 years in the wooden bat leagues, and he became pro, just because he had that. Well, he's huge, but most athletes have the Patrick Mahomes, the Bills quarterback, Josh Allen. Those guys have said, I played football, basketball, and mostly baseball, and they credit that to their sidearm throwing and the flicks they do and stuff. So I do credit you to that. In my opinion, the person that does do most of those things, does that. And here at the club, we offer those things, thank God.
Yeah.
And mostly, I'm talking to parents, I've heard Jordan tell people too, this thing is that we prefer the kids try different things. And so when they're asking, and I will tell you that there's been times where Jordan told me, hey, this team wants to come in, but you know what? We convince them to play flag football instead. And so then they're like, it's new for the kids, right? And then those kids end up loving it, and then basketball comes in, and they're like, let's try basketball too. And then they end up being this team that just hops around the different sports, which just, again, I think creates a better athlete, a better tradition of understanding how...
A confident athlete. Too.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
just to jump in on
Yeah,
that, we
go
had a
ahead.
baseball team that was pretty much consistent every season with us here, and their pitcher ended up being their quarterback, right, in flag football. So now I'm going to the field and I'm seeing this pitcher throw 20-yard bombs, right? And for him, he's like, wow, man, I'm slinging it like Mahomes. I'm slinging it like Josh Allen, and this is coming easy to me. And I thought this flag football stuff was going to be hard. And he was going, roll out 20 yards deep in the end zone. So, the kids getting that experience that first time, hey, Dad, I want to do it again. Maybe that's something they pursue, right? But, I believe burnout's a real thing, too.
Yeah.
So, I've seen kids from 4U all the way up to where they're 10U. And they're having these conversations with me aside from their parents and saying, hey, Jordan, like, I like baseball, but this is just, a lot for me. And it's an everyday thing, and also baseball's an outdoor sport, right? So, yeah, the heat does play a toll on it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think firsthand because you see it. You see a lot of different samples.
Yeah.
In my household, I think we burnt him out on baseball. And what's funny about that is it wasn't us. We weren't pushing him.
Yeah.
He was saying he wanted to play. And we just said, okay. But I think that's where us as parents, we need to know when to say, hey, you need to take a break. And I say we burnt him out because we started here. Mm-hmm. So that was you asked how it's different.
Right.
And different means different. Different doesn't mean right or wrong.
Right.
Back when we were growing up, we played with McAllen Boys and Girls Club. You had to be from McAllen to make the All-Stars.
Right.
Okay. It's a little bit different now.
Yeah.
And so my son made All-Stars in T-ball, which, by the way, I don't think we even had that when we were growing up.
Yeah.
All-Stars for T-ball.
Right.
So to me, that was like, whoa, okay, all right. Let's just go with it. Let's see where this takes us.
Right.
And then after that, he was approached about playing on a travel team, and we did that, and probably tournaments every other weekend for a whole year. And at some point, he was asking to get out, and we were just telling him, like, hey, you already made a commitment, or let's just get to this tournament, and then we'll take a break. Well, that break turned into I never ever want to play baseball again. And but luckily, we were able to get him into a Boys and Girls Club season, and that rekindled it a little bit for him. So I'm thankful for that. And that's one of the things that I love about what y'all do here. You give that opportunity for kids.
Right.
They can try things for a season. Seasons aren't long. My daughter, she only played that basketball season. That one basketball season where I coached both of them.
Okay.
And she didn't. She loved it because we won the championship. She loved the medal, but she didn't want to play again. That wasn't a case of burnout. But what's cool is that they have the opportunity to learn and play and try it.
Right.
Now, what advice would you give to some new parents that we have? Because we have a new generation of parents coming up, and a lot of them come in and ask us, hey, what would you recommend? Where do I start off? What sport do I go to? Is it worth investing into travel teams? What advice would you give them?
Oh, boy. I was hoping we didn't go here. Just speaking from my experience and my opinion, I think you gotta go. You gotta judge it by the kid, right? Every person's different. My experience has been my son loved basketball. Basketball was the youngest thing aside from baseball, it's the youngest thing y'all let people in.
Right? Baseball, yeah, T-ball.
Yeah, T-ball. Mm-hmm. So we did that as early as we could for him. That now turned into now we don't play here at all.
Right.
Because he's competitive when it comes to basketball.
Right.
So it's just basically it was based on age is how we decided to start. My daughter we don't do any private lessons or training because we're just here to have fun, play, learn the game.
Get a snack at the end, and then we're good.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And I think there's a place for both, and that's what I mean by I think every parent's got to assess where their kid's at, and also learn from our mistake and not oh, we're just gonna do whatever the kid wants. No, sometimes we have to be a parent, put the foot down, and say like, hey man, like let's take a step back.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, because again, different generation, different way of parenting. I think Drew and I have a lot of stories of when we were growing up and how our parents were. And I'll tell people right now that I didn't have the car ride home with the father and being like, I had more like, we're gonna eat. And so I've seen some of those things where the kids don't want to, sometimes dads and moms take it a little too serious. I'd say not only here but other places and stuff. But we see a lot here because of the scores tied, scores winding down, and fouls and this and that. So we do see a lot of it. However, I think at the end of the day, we see we just ended recently our high school soccer league, and PSG North ended up beating Nikki Rowe on a last minute goal. And at the very end, the cool thing we gave the first time we gave them a cup and they got medals and stuff, and they had that little like 1, 2, 3, hey, and they lifted the little kid up in the air, and that to me brought back some raw emotions because it was really cool to be in the moment. And afterward, they're very thankful, of course, for the league and whatnot, but they played a bunch of good teams across the valley to get to that point. And so for us to offer that like we do offer other sports, it's really good to see when it comes full circle like that, and then the kids are happy and the parents are happy. And that's all. Our number one thing here has always been like have fun and be safe. And
also create opportunity.
That's it.
I mean, like James said.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're familiar with our Elevate program.
Yeah.
And we have a mission moment that's going to be a segment right now on the show. A mission moment, talking about every kid having an opportunity to play. And this is a story that happened my first Elevate season here with the club. We were working the front desk. It was a long day. Friday, 4:55. Okay, let's close up shop. We're 5 minutes away from going out and having a good burger, right? Kid walks in the door, and I'm like, hey, buddy, where's your parent? Who you with? Oh, my mom couldn't make it. She's at work. But my coach told me that I have to sign up today for Elevate or I can't play. I'm like, yeah, that's true, but I need your parent to be here. And he pulls out a bag of quarters. He puts it on the desk and says, this is all I have. I know it's not enough, but can you help me out? And this is a fifth grader. So I'm looking at it, and I'm looking around the room, seeing if John Quinones or whatever his name is from What Would You Do is come out of the corner and be like, okay, man, I'd be tested here. And I'm like, okay. But luckily, I've worked with this kid before when I was a youth professional here at the after-school program. I'm telling him like, okay, man, we're gonna work something out. Luckily, we were able to scholarship him. He ended up being the star player of his basketball team. And, just working here, giving those kids opportunities, that's something that sometimes not all the parents get to see because, like you said, we have those travel teams in our league. We have our recreational teams as well. With our Bonham project coming up, we're hoping to create more opportunity for kids in South McAllen across the expressway. Have you heard about our Bonham project?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so remind me. I've heard about it, but what is it? What's the mission?
Yeah. So we recently purchased old school Bonham Elementary that we're going to turn into another Boys and Girls Club. It'll be our third site in McAllen. We have one on Buddy Owens, and then we have this one right here, and that'll be our third site. And the mission, of course, is to service thousands of kids on that side of the expressway that can't make it over on this side. So a lot of schools that are over there want to have a place to go to after school during the summer. We're hoping to also get some gyms over there for some more sports and more opportunity to do different things. So that hopefully it's going to happen in the next 5 years. We're actually looking for sponsors, to help, with that campaign to bring money into that. And so that's going to help us, the Boys and Girls Club push for the next 50, 60, 70, 100 years. It's our third site. So now we'll be in all of McAllen, North McAllen, the middle of McAllen, which is right here, and again, South McAllen. And so we're trying to, hopefully take over McAllen, Boys and Girls style, and have it all over the place to have kids, somewhere the kids go to and be safe.
Okay, can I segue back to your question?
Sure. Yeah.
Time together.
Yeah.
And can I get on my soapbox a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. No,
Okay.
it's your platform.
One, just because I just want everybody to learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Opportunity. So I had to coach. I didn't want to coach my daughter's t-ball team.
Classic segue. Yeah.
I just got put in this group chat. Hey, listen. Like if nobody
Jordan right here.
I can't remember who it was, but if nobody volunteers, like this team is going to be disbanded.
Right.
So I reluctantly raised my hand because if I didn't, then my daughter wouldn't have been able to play t-ball. But it meant something to her, and hopefully it meant something to all those other kids. Right. So I assume with expansion, we're going to need more. Y'all are going to need more volunteers,
Of course. Yeah.
And I think with that, it's intimidating, right? Because I'm sure I'm not the only one that's thought this, but I didn't play college baseball or anything like that. I at least played varsity baseball, but that's been 20 years. I don't know any of the new techniques. I don't know how to teach somebody how to swing, but hey, you know what? I did it anyway. So I would say don't let that be a barrier. I would say that also back to your question about what to tell new parents, and this goes along with maybe coaches or parents that are considering coaching.
Right.
Manage your expectations. So I know when my son started playing basketball, so my son's older than my daughter, my son started playing basketball and just being, we didn't get to this part, but I played football in college. I signed a football scholarship and ultra marathoner, right? So you know, like there's a little bit of competitiveness there, right? And wanting to win. And and he did too, my son, right?
Right.
I know that, and we always, I think we do that sometimes with parents. We're like, it doesn't matter. We're not here to, whatever. But as a coach, I can tell you the kids are asking on the bench, are we winning or whatever? or coach, they didn't count that basket. Yeah, because we're already winning by 20. Don't worry about it. But they pick up on those things. So that tells me that they do care about winning a little bit.
Attention, that's right.
Yeah, but anyway, so managing expectations. So what I realized when my daughter came through is she didn't have the same. She was just having fun.
Right.
And so then I realized, So then I realized there is a difference, and there should be a difference between travel ball and here.
Right.
And I don't know. I think all parents should know that. Because I've been a part of some games where it gets heated in the stands, and it's like, for what, guys? Like we're just here to have fun. Right. Like
that's why I sent Jordan for security and my staff. We got to go in there.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'm guilty of. I got a technical. I don't know. I still don't know how that's possible. But I got a technical one. So anyway,
there's cameras everywhere, James. There's cameras everywhere.
Please bring that up. You'll see.
No, that's good. That's a good segue into the last part of this, though. And I didn't. I'm sorry to go back. I got on a scholarship. Where'd you go play?
A small school in Iowa, NAIA school, and then I finished off at a D2 school.
And you played safety there, well, because you played safety in high school, and then safety there as well.
No, I actually played inside linebacker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was about 50 pounds heavier. Oh. Jordan, I see you looking at me.
Pretty fast.
No, but in high school, am I wrong? You were linebacker in high school, not safety?
I was an outside linebacker and safety. I even spent some time at free safety my senior year.
That's what I remember more you playing was safety. So inside linebacker in college then. And how was that transition?
Yeah. Do you remember when I said earlier, we'll let the result when you talked about my dad?
Daddy boy. There you go. No, so linebacker there. And how'd y'all do there in that school?
You know, what's funny is, okay, that school, so I started as a true freshman, which was kind of neat. It was a neat experience. It kind of, for me, validated like, okay, so kids from the Valley, they can do something.
Right.
So that first year was our first year in NAIA because they were a D2 school.
Okay.
So didn't do too well.
Okay.
But that coach, that was his first year with the program or second year. Now he's in the NAIA Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
He's won I don't know how many national championships in a row.
Wow. For that same school?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
So it's really, really neat to see.
How taking over.
Yeah.
And transition the whole thing.
And so you ask, right, about how does some of those things, like how does this all work? Like a lot of those things that he would say, like you asked my team at work.
Right.
I like to speak in cliches.
Right.
I learned most of them through a coach.
Right.
Because there's just so much wisdom in those. And those
Yeah.
few words.
Right. What's one of them you don't want to share? Well, a couple.
Well, one thing, so since we're on the subject of him,
Yeah.
there was one thing he used to do before every single practice. We'd be stretching, and he'd be walking up the lines, and he'd be reciting this saying. You put me on the spot, so now I'm blank. Today is the beginning of a new day. You've been given this day to use as you will. You can waste it or use it for good. Today is important because tomorrow it will be gone, leaving it in its place, something along those lines. But he would say it every single day, up and down. And that is still in my scrapbook. I mentioned the scrapbook earlier.
Yeah, no, that's very good.
It was so impactful. So I have a little gym in my house.
Right.
My wife was kind enough to frame that saying.
Oh,
It's
nice.
up, and it's up in my thing.
So you see it often.
Yeah, see it often, and my kids are tired of hearing it.
Oh,
That's how much of an impact
there you
sports
go.
and all this stuff has had.
right. No, then that's really good. And then try and teach them that today's not a waste of day. Then go for it full blast and give it all you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this book, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
like that. I had a coach in high school that pounded that book in our head, and the first thing he said, "I'm gonna make you all rich." We're like, "Oh, good, a nice financial guy here. That's cool, right? To get us some money." And it's actually the opposite. It's like get our brains rich with cliches more or less. But no, it was the first line in there is today I'm gonna be a champion. That's the first line in there, and I as you said. I use a lot of things in my head to push my day forward with a lot of sayings and whatnot. So that's really good. And at least now your kids are tired of hearing that. They'll be able to recite it maybe 20 years from now.
I hope. That's the hope.
And then by that time, we'll have 50 fields and more gyms. They'll be like, what? When I was here, this isn't that many. We only had 12 fields.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What advice would you give people going into college sports? Because I found that really interesting that you went from all your life doing it and then you go to college and that transition. Like, is it a huge transition from high school to college? Or what did you do to prep for that change?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It was a huge transition, and that was at a small NAIA school. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure the transition to a good, big D1, that transition's even crazier. It wasn't even just the sports transition. So I was born and raised here.
That's good. The weird part, yeah.
So the first time I ever went on a plane was on a recruiting visit.
Oh, okay.
That was the first time I ever saw snow. So I'm from the valley going to Iowa, where our first snow that year was before Halloween.
There you go.
And our last snow was after Easter. So literally more than half the year was spent in snow and cold.
All your games, pretty much, and also
Yeah. So you have to learn. Yeah.
adapt.
Yeah.
Okay. Not that I've ever done anything wrong in my life. But one time, a punishment of mine was 300 yards of bear crawls, and it was snow, and there was snow on the ground. So that's how I learned to defrost your hands.
There you go.
But so yeah, I mean, there's not much I can prepare you for all that. So what I would say to somebody, all right, real world experience. I got my summer workout the summer going into my freshman year. So doing whatever the coaches say to do, be intentional about what you do, take full advantage of the opportunity. So not through just athletics, but education. I think one of the coolest things ever was the fact that they would enroll me in my classes. So I would take advantage of all of that. Mm-hmm. And set yourself up for success off the field. And I know this might sound corny, but it's so true. Just being so present and understanding the opportunity you have in front of you, because once that's gone, I can't ever put pads on again. Well, I mean, I guess I could, but
Right. We all think we can.
Right. No, but I can't.
There you go. Since you're not,
I can put them on. I just don't know.
Also, because you're no triathlete and I'm not, so that's why.
We have
That's good. That's good.
we have a helmet at the office. I put that thing on. even that hurt. So I will never do that again.
Trying to open over your ears. There you go. There you go.
No, but I mean, I would just, young person, just, I'm sure young people have heard that, but it's so true. You'll just you'll never get that back.
Yeah, I know. That's good advice. And
Yeah,
it's because you ever been out of the valley before, and you go to from 104-day weather to all of a sudden you're in minus 10, or I don't know what was the average temperature over there, 0.
I think anywhere in the teens, like you stop. It doesn't even matter. Like,
and then me from the valley, you're like, oh my god, and there's funny because people that have not been near snow don't think it's really that cold sometimes, so they're in it the whole time. They're like, man, it's cold to be in it the whole time, and then 3 or 4 hours, and then time going on. So no, definitely big transition, I'd say.
yeah, well, yeah. Sport matters too, right? Football. There's a lot of standing around.
Right,
you're standing on the sideline waiting for. I was a linebacker, right?
Right.
So when the offense is out in the field, you're standing there, and your hands are cold.
Yeah,
and
there
your
you
feet
go.
are cold because they're wet. Because snow is wet.
Yeah, there you go. In case you didn't understand that, snow turns into water.
Yeah.
But there you go. Well, James, it's been a pleasure, and thank you. But yeah, we reached our time already, and thank you for all the stories and advice, and we appreciate it. Come back soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.